Good morning. I have just a quick couple of videos I wanted to tape, and one of them is more or less a housekeeping video. I've had several patients ask that have just begun the program about dosage with the liquid drops. And here's the thing, with these drops, I know when it says in the manual dropper full, that can be easily misconstrued as the whole vial, the glass vial needs to be completely full. Well, that's not what it means. When you have a dosage of a dropper full, no matter what the medicine would be, or in this case, the natural supplement, all you're going to do is completely plunge the black rubber all the way, and when you release it, it's going to draw up the metered dosage of 1 milliliter. That's all that means, okay? So you don't have to sit there and try and fill up the whole dropper full. All it is one complete plunge with your fingers, squeeze it all the way, draw it back up, let it go, squirt it, and you're good to go. That is 1 milliliter metered properly. So that takes care of that one. Now, the next one is in relation to healthy or essential oils. A lot of patients are wondering what oils in particular are healthy versus ones that are damaged or harmful. The ones that are damaging or harmful are going to be things like Crisco oil, Wesson oil, canola oil, peanut oil. Those are all damaged. They're easily damaged by heat especially. But in addition to that, they have been extracted from their original source by solvents. And many times these corporations that are making these, they do it as cheaply as they can get away with because they want to maximize profit, right? So what they do is they use chemical solvents, and a lot of times that chemical solvent remains in the product. Very dangerous. So if you get an oil that is organic, many times from Whole Foods or Earth Fare, Abundant Living in Cleveland, those type of places, sometimes in Publix or some of the better grocery stores, you can't necessarily count on it from something like Food City, Ingles, or Walmart. They're just not going to have that next step up in terms of quality when it comes to oils. But definitely you can count on it if you go to a place like Earth Fare or Whole Foods, particularly for the price point. The price point will always be better in one of those locations, okay? So just remember that that's solvent-based. And a cheap way to test it, any oil, whether you get a tuna fish oil or a krill oil, salmon oil, cod liver oil, wheat germ oil, no matter what it is, you can always take a drop and put it on a styrofoam cup. And if it eats into the styrofoam cup, that's a pretty good indication that there's styrene left over in it, which is a solvent, a cheap solvent typically used to extract oils from the original substrate material. Okay? So I hope that's helpful, but keep away from the cheap commercially produced oils. They're damaged. Those are the type of things that when they get into your system are an additional stressor to your biliary system, particularly the liver and gallbladder, causing some gallbladder sludge. And that's great for the general surgeon. They love it because that just means they can take more parts out. But in terms of your body's function, we were not made with extra parts. And I hope you heard that, what I just said. We were not created with extra parts. So a lot of these teenagers and 20-year-olds that are having their gallbladders removed surgically, there are alternatives. There are healthy alternatives. There are safe alternatives. What precipitates that many times are these white refined sugars. Overconsumption of these white refined sugars, refined food, period. Those are the typical root causes of those type of things, okay? And the last one I want to touch on, I was going to talk about food sources in our community, schools, and churches, but I'm just not going to go there. I'll have to do that in a different format. But our nutraceuticals. Nutraceuticals are basically safer drugs. That's all they are. They're mass-produced. They are synthetically derived many times. They may have some natural sources in them, but most of them are synthetically derived. They're heavily processed. They contain technically the chemical makeup and content of what the label says, but by and large, they're not food-based. Our bodies do not recognize them as food. That's why when you take a lot of nutraceuticals, you'll notice a change in your urine color. So a lot of the healthcare community, I'll say in general, you're reading my eyes right now, they will say you'll have expensive urine taking vitamins. Well, that's by and large true if they're synthetic and they're nutraceutical based. Where do you find nutraceutical based supplements? That's going to be your big box stores. And you know what I'm talking about. All the name brand big box stores, all the way down to Walgreens, CVS, and GNC. They're all those type of, you can find more of a mixture at GNC, but by and large, they're there to generate profit in large quantity. And that's why they call them big box stores. So be mindful that you get what you pay for when it comes to those. The better the quality, the higher the cost, but ultimately the better your body is going to absorb from what you take in. That's what digestion is in a nutshell. Digestion is absorbing what we take in. The old adage, remember, you are what you eat. That's partially true. You are what you eat, but you are what you absorb from what you eat. So nutraceuticals, they are cheaper. Sure, that gets our attention immediately, but you get what you pay for, and especially when it comes to absorption. Remember that. Now, crisis versus preventive mentality. Our society kind of fosters the mindset of a crisis mentality. We only handle things when it becomes scary to us or a really obvious issue, right? But that actually costs more on the backside. And it's always going to be cheaper for you to handle your health on the front side in a preventive mindset. Ounce of prevention worth a pound of cure still holds true today. The adage is timeless, and it still holds true today. So remember that when it comes to your quality of your supplements and your food, you're going to pay for your health on the front side or back side. I can guarantee you that. It's a principle. It's not Daru's opinion. It's a principle. So it's your choice, though. You can pay for it more cheaply on the front side than you will on the back side if you roll the dice with what you let in. Cheap food, cheap outcome in terms of tissue quality, but expensive repercussions when it comes to your health care. Okay? That's all I want to touch on today. If you have any questions, always email. You got my email address 24/7, drtimothydarus@gmail.com. Shoot me questions. If I have any additional comments, I'm just going to jump on here every Tuesday and try and get a nugget out to you to help you in the process. So I want to encourage you to stick with it. Summer is one of the easier times because our good quality food are plentiful. So hit your farmers markets, your Amish community farmers markets. That is going to be the best source of food outside of what you can grow in your own backyard and keep control of. Okay? Have a blessed week, and I will talk to you soon.